Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com and another quick weekly news recap for all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 30th, 2015. This is episode number 19 of the recap, and we're already done with November, and I hope everyone had an awesome Thanksgiving. Well, without further ado, the first bit of news this week is actually pretty big news regarding Blade and Soul from NCSoft. Apparently, the English localization for Blade and Soul features quite a few changes and some serious censorship. Reddit user Safeguard Killy compiled a list of changes and some downright censored content evident in the current North American closed beta of the game compared to the Korean version. Some of the censorship-related changes include the game's localization team deleting criticisms of their decisions, quests being altered to remove content they find personally offensive or not welcoming enough, story/NPC dialogue being altered to turn players into a strict hero archetype, no moral failings or ambiguity, so basically the stereotypical archetype good guy kind of character. And they're also making the game's villain stereotypical cartoon tier evil. In terms of localization changes, the game's story is also being dumbed down with removal of foreshadowing, and a lot of the game's lore is also being altered/changed outright. The list goes on, but the changes are pretty serious, and I can't believe that political correctness people out there are really just ruining the game, or trying to ruin it rather. It's absolutely ridiculous. The West is supposed to be a bastion of free speech and such, but I think we can handle some moral ambiguity with our characters. It doesn't have to be a stereotypical archetype good guy character. And it's sad because the rest of the world doesn't have to play the filtered version of the game, but we do. And the downright most despicable change, though, is the removal of lingerie from the game. Western female avatars wear underwear/bras, while every other version of the game gets hot lingerie. Lingerie in the Western version, though, has been turned into a cash shop item. Everyone else gets it for free, but we gotta pay for it. Come on. But in all seriousness, though, the fact that they've dumbing down the game's story is totally absurd, especially since storytelling/lore is a big part of Blade and Soul. They clearly spent a lot of time on it, so why ruin it? Well, this makes me upset, so we do have to move on. We will definitely discuss this on the podcast, though. Next up, Devilian from Chronicle, the upcoming action MMORPG, announces its open beta and head start dates and launch dates. Devilian's open beta will begin on December 2nd at 10 AM. But before you get too excited about that date, characters will be wiped at the end of open beta, which is definitely odd because most games do not wipe at the end of their open betas, so it's basically a fake open beta. On December 8th, however, founders will be given a head start, and everyone else will be able to play for realsies on December 10th at 12 PM. with no further wipes. So previously, it's kind of more like a stress test than anything else, and the actual launch date is December 10th for most people, and December 8th for founders. But for those impatient, they can start playing on December 2nd, but again, there will be a wipe at the end of that beta. Up next, some news regarding Ghost in the Shell First Assault, or simply First Assault from Nexon. The new Opal-developed free-to-play shooter is set to launch on Steam, quote-unquote, soon, as well as Nexon Launcher. While there's no exact release date available just yet, the Steam page for the game does say December 2015, which means that we can expect the game for sure before the end of the year. The reason for the game to even launch on Steam is that Steam implementation was one of the game's most requested features after the first round of beta testing, and people at New Opal want to show folks that they're actually listening to players, so they're going to be bringing the game to Steam, which is nice. I'm sorry Nexon, but I prefer Steam to the Nexon launcher. I would say it's not you, it's me, but let's be real. No one likes specialty launchers, so I'm glad to see the game on Steam. Next up, some more news from Nexon, but this time regarding their most iconic title, MapleStory. Nexon announced MapleStory Reboot this week, which is an attempt to return to a more hardcore, old-school version of the game. MapleStory Reboot will take place on an entirely new server and offer an entirely new gameplay experience. The most notable changes in Reboot include tougher but more rewarding enemies, an entirely new upgrade system, rebalanced jobs, and much more. One of the biggest changes is the game's cash shop. Nothing will be available that boosts power. Instead, everything must be earned in-game, which sounds pretty good. Trading, however, has been disabled altogether, which is extremely odd, but only gear of your own class will drop, which makes things a little bit easier and less reliant on trading. I imagine they disabled trading to prevent gold sellers, but it seems like a really odd way to combat gold selling. The reboot version of the game should be launching fairly soon, and I'll definitely be checking it out myself, because I'm not afraid to admit, or rather, I'm not ashamed to admit that I actually really do like MapleStory. I'm actually proud to admit that. Go MapleStory. Up next, the relatively unknown Russian MMORPG Sphere 3 Enchanted World is launching in English on Steam. On December 2nd, that is. The game builds itself as a hardcore Russian PvP MMORPG with non-targeted PvP combat, which simply means action-oriented combat a la Terra. Sphere 3 is launching with over 1,000 quests and over 600 hours of content for players to run through, but the game's main appeal is supposed to be its open-world PvP, as well as large-scale guild versus guild and alliance versus alliance PvP battles. I haven't heard too much about Sphere 3 myself, so I'll see for myself soon enough on the 2nd, but I do like the fact that they're emphasizing open world PvP. It should help differentiate themselves from the legions of other free-to-play fantasy MMORPGs out there. Plus, it doesn't look that bad, but again, we'll see on the 2nd when it actually launches. Moving right along, we have a new trailer for COG Games' upcoming new anime MMORPG, HeroWarz. A small reminder, COG Games is the same company, or rather, the company best known for Elsword, and pretty much actually only known for Elsword. And like Elsword, HeroWarz is an action MMORPG, but aside from that, we don't have too much to work with right now, especially since this new trailer they're showing off features no actual gameplay, and it's simply an anime trailer, though it is pretty cool. HeroWarz isn't a new game though, as it's been out in South Korea since September of 2014, but it's set to launch in the West sometime in early 2016. Next up, SkySaga Alpha 6 officially launched this week, which introduced quite a few changes to the game. Most notably though is the merger of North American and European servers into a single big server. Actually, this update included a ton of small changes and rather other big changes as well, including a new user interface and a remake of the entire Persistent World social hub area. No word on official release date just yet though, but Smilegate and Radiant Worlds are clearly taking their time with SkySaga to get it right. And 6 major updates starting in Alpha seems like quite a bit, but I guess it's better to take their time and release a good product and rush something out quickly. And as you can see, SkySaga is basically a Minecraft / Trove mix. It's a voxel based sandbox crafting game with some as well as PvE combat. Next up, news regarding Black Desert Online, or rather just Black Desert itself. The game's first round of closed beta testing is set to begin on December 16th, with the new Tamer class included. It's the first round of official closed beta testing for the game. The game had previously did an alpha test which was much more limited and shorter, and players should expect the game's closed beta to be open to a lot more players. The closed beta will be running from December 16th, 7 AM, all the way up until December 22nd, 7 AM UTC time. I don't even know when UTC time is, but it's not my time, I know that. And by my time I mean USA time. So it's not Pacific or Eastern or Central. Included the game's closed beta update is quite a few changes, small changes really. The game's character customization has actually been improved to include 30 new skin tones, 40 new hair colors, new beards, and the option to make a male character bald. I guess that's what everyone was waiting for. Class balance changes and weather cycle updates have also been tweaked, and a lot of other small changes. Up next, Chronicle RuneScape Legends officially entered closed beta earlier this week, and for those that haven't heard, Chronicle is a board game / card game RuneScape spin-off that features iconic characters from the RuneScape universe. At first I thought Chronicle was purely a Hearthstone style card game, but it's clearly not and involves some board game elements. The game boasts a quote-unquote deep card crafting system and sophisticated deck building with over 270 cards available at the moment with more on the way. Closed beta is live, but final release is planned for sometime in 2016. And given the popularity of the RuneScape universe, I suspect the game will do fairly well. Also, in unrelated spin-off news, World of Tanks gets another spin-off after their World of Tanks Blitz. This time around, it's a collectible card game called World of Tanks Generals, which is out for iOS and web browsers. The game is free to play, but oddly only available on iPad tablets as well as browsers. I imagine mobile versions should be out soonish though. The game launched with over 200 cards available and will likely add more soon. Seems like everyone is trying to launch their own collectible card game these days, trying to chase after that Hearthstone money. I'll do a first look video for this one fairly soon. And I like how this video has nothing to do with the actual gameplay. We got a bunch of general dudes chilling and playing some card games. I guess it's actually kind of cool because what they're doing is animating in the background. That guy's badass. He's got a monocle. You don't mess with dudes with monocles. Yo, I'd totally be scared of that guy with a monocle. I'd let him win. That guy's gonna mess me up. The next and last bit of major news this week is from Buy to Play FPS Squad. More details have been revealed regarding Off-World Industries' upcoming shooter, which is being developed on Unreal Engine 4 and features 100 players on a single battlefield, which is probably the game's biggest selling point. The game is by the creators of the Battlefield 2 mod, Project Reality, and the game's early access is set to begin on Steam on December 15th, so for those interested, mark your calendars. Anyway guys, that's it for major MMO news, and that's the week ending November 30th, 2015. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Anyway guys, later.